Hello, I'm Clark Bullard, board member and longtime supporter of Prairie Rivers Network. I became an activist more than 50 years ago out of a desire to protect beloved and ecologically important places that were under threat of destruction. At that time, there were plans to dam and build stagnant reservoirs on almost every Illinois river and to clear cut and channelize almost every creek. And there was no way to hold the destroyers accountable. In the late 1960s, the state bought land along 17 miles of the middle fork of the Vermilion River for a dam project that would have destroyed Illinois' premier river ecosystem. Our small group of citizen volunteers took a beautiful slideshow around the state to dozens of civic groups, inspiring them to write hundreds of letters to the editor, collect 60,000 petition signatures, and carry signs to greet political candidates whenever they came to town. And when we enlisted academics, they helped us propose cheaper and greener alternatives. After 22 years of sustained effort, the governor and the legislature finally defeated the dam project, and the National Park Service designated Illinois' first National Scenic River. In those days, we had no money and no staff, so we perfected organizing techniques that enabled volunteers alone to stop state and federal governments from wasting tax dollars to destroy the environment. But today, most environmental destruction is being financed by the private sector, not by governments. The mining, drilling, and agricultural industries are using their own money to destroy what's left of Illinois' fish and wildlife habitat and to poison many of the critters that remain. They also use their own money to lobby against tax policies that would protect the environment or hold them accountable for the damage they cause. To confront these new challenges, Prairie Rivers had to change its business model. Thanks to the generosity of donors, we've been able to build a professional staff of biologists, lawyers, and technical experts. This has enabled us to set statewide policy precedents by winning lawsuits and prevailing in the regulatory arena. Again, the Middle Fork is a classic example. During the 33 years following Scenic River designation, we have sued the power company to stop mercury pollution, and we've opposed its efforts to abandon 3 million tons of toxic coal ash that they've stored on the riverbank. In the last few years, we've seen the fruition of work that started decades ago. Prairie Rivers, along with its valued partners, secured enactment of a state law, new EPA rules, and a court order requiring the removal of coal ash from the floodplain of the Middle Fork. And our vision for Illinois rivers doesn't stop here. The Middle Fork and rivers all across Illinois should not only be protected from the threat of pollution, they should also be healed and regenerated to support the full community of life that truly defines a healthy river. Illinois river corridors can and should be some of the Illinois' best habitat, enabling wildlife to adapt and thrive despite climate change. Environmental progress doesn't happen overnight. It takes tenacity and a skilled professional staff as well as volunteers who aren't afraid to take action. In order to make this vision of Illinois rivers a reality, we're recruiting a new generation of leaders at Prairie Rivers, including new board members who bring new ideas and understandings about the threat to our environment and our communities, as well as a fierce determination to radically improve the way that humans relate to nature and to each other. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to my board colleague and partner in this work, Charlotte Westcott.
Hello, my name is Charlotte Westcott, and I'm a member of the Board of Directors at Prairie Rivers Network. I joined the board because I felt like I could bring a fresh perspective to an organization that I knew was doing great work in my community. I believe that each generation needs to take responsibility for leaving the world in better shape. And as a small business owner in Champaign-Urbana, I want to be a point of connection to a broader community. I want to encourage new people to join the conversation and work with Prairie Rivers, an organization that has the power to confront polluters and protect vulnerable people and places. I grew up in Central Illinois, and I have a deep personal connection to this community. I want to give back. I want to take care of this place. There are lots of ways to give back, many of them worthy, but I looked at Prairie Rivers and I saw an organization that was making a difference right here at home and all across Illinois. I felt like this was an organization where I could maximize my impact. On behalf of the board, I want to thank you, our members, for your continued support. Your support was a critical part of our accomplishments this year, including the Climate and Equity Jobs Act, which puts Illinois on a path to 100% renewable energy by 2050. And it does this while focusing resources on communities that desperately need them. Our environmental crises are often ones of inequity and injustice. Some people hold more power than others and use that power in destructive ways, avoiding repercussions, but making others pay the cost for that destruction. This is exactly what happened when coal plants dumped their ash along the Middle Fork and at sites all across Illinois. It is long past time that we align the work of protecting our natural world with protecting vulnerable people. Prairie Rivers understands this, and that is one reason I am proud to serve on their board. As you heard from Clark, Prairie Rivers has always been forward-looking. We know victories take time and commitment. It is up to those of us who are taking up the mantle of leadership now to honor that by looking forward ourselves. Seeing a future that is brighter, better, that doesn't leave people behind, that doesn't sacrifice people and communities for the profit of pollution. Successful organizations are made by the people, the dedicated members of the board, the hard-working expert staff, but just as importantly, the devoted members and supporters, and that means you. I am asking you today to give to Prairie Rivers Network, to look forward with us, to envision this brighter future, and to make it a reality. Thank you, and we hope you have a wonderful holiday season.